Good evening, everyone. My name is Jim Hawk. I'm the Executive Director here at Neighbor to Neighbor, and I want to welcome you to the Neighborhood Passions Affinity Network, provided by Neighbor to Neighbor and our friends at Google Fiber. I'm really excited about tonight's conversation. This is really the first time we've gotten together this year, and we have JD Lane here to kick us off, so it's really exciting. I want to also thank Republic Services. This is now Republic Services' second year to underwrite our neighborhood beautification and the environment series. So all of our programs on beautification are always sponsored by Republic Services, and we're appreciative for their support. And it is exciting tonight to be here to talk about beautification. Many of you know, because I'm hearing from people all over the city that we have a litter crisis, and that it's getting worse. Some say it's because of COVID, but many of us also realize that we saw it even before COVID. This has been building for some time, and probably COVID has exacerbated the problem, and it is a problem everywhere. And so tonight we wanted to talk about some tools that Metro government has available to support you in your efforts to keep your neighborhood clean. One thing, and I'll say this so JD doesn't have to say it, you all know that we want to pay as little taxes. Most of us want to pay as little taxes as possible. And when we do that, that means we have less money available for our general budget. So there aren't armies of people hired and employed by Metro government who can go around and pick up the trash. Ultimately, it is going to be caretakers like you and me who are going to have to make sure that the city remains clean. And so we're working on this, and we have support from Metro government, and JD is here to talk about some of that support that we have. JD is the Community Services Coordinator for NDOT. And last year at this time, we did not have an NDOT. And so now we're learning about NDOT. We're learning about the differences between that and the work that the Metro Public Works can do. And we thought this is a great time for people who really want to know what they can do and how Metro can support them, to have JD come in and talk a little bit about that. JD is a lifelong resident of Nashville. Born and raised here, so he knows the history of this community, and lives here in Nashville, and we're just so glad to have him tonight. And I'm going to turn it over to you, JD, and let you share all the information that you have.
Thank you, Jim, for that nice introduction. Like you said, I was born here in Nashville. I live out in Bellevue. Lived out here all my life. So I share the struggle for y'all as being a taxpayer. So I know all the struggles there. I know Jim mentioned that I'm with NDOT now, and NDOT it used to be Public Works, and then just to kind of give you, I work with Metro Beautification, which was a division of Metro Public Works. Well, when they sent sanitation and all that to the water department, beautification went with it in a sense. A lot of people I worked with went over to, I'm sure some of y'all are familiar with Sharon Smith. She's over the Beautification Commission. She went over to water, and then me, and then the girl that worked for me, we stayed over at NDOT to run the litter programs. We figured litter was more of a street issue and on the road, so I stayed there to run all the litter programs. So that's what I'm doing now, and that's what I'm gonna go over with y'all here. I might be a little brief, but I'll try to cover everything. If anybody has any questions, happy to try to address them. As Jim said, I'm over all the cleanups. One thing, the NDOT, and we partner with Metro Beautification. We're still all working together because we're still all working for the same team essentially. So I'm still working with Sharon and all the folks over beautification. And Metro Beautification is actually an affiliate of Keep America Beautiful and Keep Tennessee Beautiful. I don't know if any of y'all are familiar with them, but we're affiliated with them, and we get a lot of grants through them, and they help us get supplies such as bags, uh, gloves, and any stuff we need for cleanups. And they help out also out, which is not related to me, but they do like tree grants for planting trees in the area. And so it's always great to be a part of them because they're always really helpful to us and providing us resources. With that being said, I'm over the neighborhood cleanups, and essentially it's a neighborhood volunteer cleanup. So essentially, if you want to say you want to clean up your block or your street or your neighborhood, and what you do is you submit me a form online, and I don't know if everybody's got that, but I'm sure we can send it. I can send it to Jim, and he can send it out. But you submit that form, and it asks you a bunch of questions like how many people are you going to have, the name of the group, the area you want to clean up, and then you'll let us know how many people you want or you're expecting to have for that cleanup, and we'll give you the supplies for that cleanup. And by supplies, we're going to give you the litter grabbers, like the pickup sticks, safety vests, gloves, vests, and the trash bags. We'll give you the trash bags you need. And another service that we'll offer is if some groups that clean up, they don't have access to maybe a pickup truck or a way to haul the debris they collect, the litter they collect, don't have a way to haul it to the convenience center. We can actually send our crew out there the next business day to pick those bags up. Some people, when they clean up certain areas, they'll have a whole big pile of stuff. It'd be tires and other kinds of debris. And of course, some people, they don't have a truck or anything. And that's one service we provide. We'll come out there and we'll pick everything up from that cleanup. And that's just essentially how the neighborhood cleanups work. And I guess I'll spill over into the Adopt a Street program. Adopt a Street's very similar to the neighborhood cleanup. It's set up kind of the same way. You get all the same supplies and everything, but just you have to sign a commitment that you want to clean up a certain street for that year. And with the Adopt a Street program, we like people to at least clean up 4 times a year. And we never really have a hard time getting that out of people. Most time, more people go overkill, which there's no such thing in my book, but people want to, some families, and one thing people get confused about with Adopt a Street, they think you have to be like a big group or a big church group, fraternity, whatever. I have small families that adopt streets, and that's all it's got to be. It's not got to be nothing fancy or official. I've got families that adopted, the couple blocks they live on, and they'll go clean it up once a week. So I think that's one thing people often get mixed up. They think they have to be a part of a neighborhood association, or and that's good when the neighborhood associations and groups like that get involved, because more people, it's more litter being picked up. It's just all around better. But it can be small groups as well. Then the only other perk to the Adopt a Street program is that sometimes, or that not sometimes, but we put signs up at the end of the street you adopted. It'll say like your group name and have like a nice Adopt a Street logo on it. It'd be a nice sign with whatever name, like the name of the neighborhood group, name of the church, name of the family, whatever y'all want to put on it. And typically the way we do that is what I'll do is I'll wait and make sure that group's going to do at least one cleanup. Then I'll put the sign up, because we have had groups, and when I first kind of took over the program, I was, all crazy about getting the sign up for the group, put the sign up, and then all of a sudden it was crickets. Never heard any more from the group, which then I went and took the sign down, of course. But that's why we have to do that, where we have to wait and, kind of make sure they are going to commit to it, because they can sign it on paper, but we really can't go after them after that. So, and I know a lot of questions we get is if, TDOT has their Adopt a Highway program, and there's sometimes I know I've got a close relationship with TDOT's beautification office, so we work together. They're real cool with us, and like I said, we communicate often. But that woman, the woman that's over that, she said she's real nice to deal with. But sometimes we have the issue with some routes are not. People think they're metro roads, but they're actually state routes. And of course, we can't. I'm not going to tell you can't clean up a state route, but I can't really, I can't have you adopt it from a Metro standpoint. Uh, but I'm happy to get you in contact with her. And like I said, their program is pretty much exactly like ours because we've kind of modeled our programs after one another. Of course, they're on statewide, so everything's bigger. Longer section of street. They give out bags and stuff the same way. I think as far as for the adopt a street part, that's all I can think of at the moment. As Jim said, we have a small court order community service program where we people or the courts in Nashville send people to do community service, and we take them out on the road 4 hours a day and pick up litter on the side of the road, pick up litter or illegal dumping. It's been a very good program. It was a real good program, but COVID really kind of slowed it down. Courts weren't sending as many people community service. Of course, the way we do our community service is we meet at a certain location, we'll load them in vans, and then go out to different spots countywide. And of course, with COVID, we really didn't want to start stuffing people in vans close together. We didn't want to add to the problem. But it's slowed down since COVID, but we're still going at it. And it's probably one of the things that's going to get better as time goes on. As hopefully as we get past COVID, I know everybody wants to get past it, but everything gets better. And then I think community service will be one of the things that improves as well. But like I said, that's a good program we use. It saves it. I think statistically it saves Metro. At one time it was saving Metro over $1 million a year through their, like the way Keep America Beautiful valued a volunteer or community service workers' time. That's what it's how it saved taxpayers. That was always kind of one of our bragging points. Of course, as we get now, that it's probably not nowhere near that because we're not getting the community service workers we had. But like I said, I'm hoping we get back there one day. One more tool I want to tell you all about, and I'm sure many of you probably know about it, is the Metro Nashville Hub, where you can put in requests online. And a lot of people use this tool for litter collection. No matter what the street is, if it's a state road, it gets sent over to TDOT. If you submit a request, say, I'm trying to think of a state route, like state route 70 or something like that, something that we can't clean up, but TDOT over to clean up, we can send it over to them, and I hope they clean it up. I like to tell you they will, but like I said, I don't work with TDOT, so, and they're normally pretty good with us, but like I said, sometimes they're like us, they're short staffed and got a million things to do. So, but that request does get sent to them. Like I said, if it's any kind of litter, of course, any Metro wide, if it's potholes or any type of complaint you have Metro wide, you can go through the hub. So that's a great tool people can use. And the spring clean. I know that was one of the main reasons we wanted to talk today. Every year, and we even did it last year, and we kind of did it during 2020. I think it was just delayed. But what it is, as I said earlier, we're a member of or affiliate of Keep America Beautiful, and Keep America Beautiful. What they have is March 1st through May 31st. They have what they call the Great American Cleanup, and all it is they're giving out, or they're telling people, go out and clean your area up, clean the street up. That's when they really want to try to push to have as many cleanups as they can. Of course, like I said, they give us a lot of resources. That's where we get a lot of our resources from, is them, and they really push to have a cleanup, push for everybody to have cleanups. And that's what we started doing a couple of years ago, especially when the mayor got behind it. We had all these groups doing cleanups. So we'd have multiple cleanups going on one weekend. And we've tried to spread it out. As like I said, the Great American Cleanups March 1st through May 31st. So you got about 3 months there, and that's typically too. The reason they do it this because that's when you'll get kind of your better weather. It's not going to be too cold, hopefully, and it's before it gets real hot. That's one reason they do it that time of year. But that's a great time if you or anybody in your neighborhood or people want to do cleanups. It's a great time to do it. Metro hasn't said anything officially about our spring clean. I'm sure we will have one. We're going to have cleanups during that time, whether it's just, sanctified as a spring clean or not, but we will have something during that time. And like I said, it's always, I remember one year, the first year we did it, we had like 80 cleanups going on in one day, which was awesome. But from somebody in my standpoint, it was kind of nauseating in a sense because it was having all these groups had bags we had to go pick up, had to make sure we had enough resources, and we did. We had plenty of resources, but it was just it was a big task to coordinate, and we did, and it was very successful. So I think that's all. I think that's everything. I might have missed something. If I did, I'm happy to answer any questions. It'll probably trigger something, and I'll be happy to address it.
While everybody's thinking about questions that they may want to ask, I just wanted to check in. How many of you had met or at least talked to JD before? Wow, you got new friends tonight, JD.
I hope they're friends.
New followers. Well, so this is your contact. This is the guy when you're ready and wanting to do these cleanups. He really is going to be your best friend for making sure you get the grabbers, for making sure you get the vests, for making sure you get the garbage bags. And what I really love, JD, because I think about this too, is once you get everything gathered up, being able to call and say it's ready and get it picked up without having to worry about where to dispose it. That is amazing. Well, what questions does anybody have, and what questions do you all have for JD this evening?
I have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
Probably been a few years ago that we did a neighborhood cleanup, and there was some confusion as to whether or not we returned the grabbers and the trash bags. One of the guys said he thought that we were supposed to return those. I think it was the grabbers, the gloves, and the trash bags. I don't recall us having any vest. But are those things supposed to be returned?
Yeah, whatever you don't use, we ask you to return. Especially the litter grabbers is the main thing that we're going to want back, unless they got damaged or something. But the litter grabbers is the main thing we want back because that's the most of all the tools that we're getting and giving out. That's the most pricey one. So, but whatever people don't use, and like I said, the gloves, once people have used them, we don't, of course, we don't want them back. And for a brief stint there in 2020, we were just giving people, because we didn't want to have to be bringing stuff back and forth to our warehouse. So we were giving them to groups and just tell them, hey, just keep them, because it was better at that from the health aspect. It was better at that point. Now we weren't giving out, like if somebody called us and said, hey, we want 60 litter grabbers for our cleanup. No, we gave them maybe a quarter of that, if that. But yes, man, we like for everybody to, if they don't use it, to try to return it if all possible.
Okay, thanks.
JD, you've seen a lot of these neighborhood cleanups. Is there any tips that you can give people to really help them understand what helps to make it successful?
I think one good thing to help make it successful is you don't have to get a lot of people out there and to get 60 people on the side of the road. Of course, I don't want you to do that either because it kind of be unsafe. But if you see people out there cleaning up and some people, a lot of these cleanups, it's a consistent. They come back, they do a cleanup once a month or once a quarter, and I think that makes a difference when people stay consistent with it. When they come out there and they're people see them coming out there when they see people constantly wanting to take care of that area. I think it makes people think before they they throw a piece of trash out the window or whatever. Bad people are going to do bad stuff anyway. There's stupid people in this world for sure, but I think that makes a difference. People see people out there caring about their neighborhood, caring about the community. I think that makes an impression on people, especially when they see them doing it like on a somewhat a consistent basis. So,
Thanks, JD. Lola.
Thank you, sirs. I was just curious if there was if you've seen any sort of change, if there's more signage, that there's surveillance and there's fines. Does that help at all? If we can request that, or kind of do a little, everyone's shaking their head like, nope.
In my experience with I think the signs, I think they can help, but sometimes I think they can hurt too, because then you give people that
Aiming for the
you give-
signs.
yes. And I hate to admit that. I mean, it really burns me up to admit that, but people are, like I said, there's stupid people out there that do stuff like that.
So if I put a trail camera out there and I catch the people that are aiming for the signs and report them, I don't know.
Our experience with the
Hunting for
cameras,
little bugs.
because like we had a couple years ago, we did a big campaign where we were putting out trail cameras. And the tricky thing with us is it's hard with the trail cameras, they're motion censored. So we had to put them like in dead ends or places where there wasn't going to be a car going by it every 2 seconds to keep triggering it off. And I just never really had any success with the cat. We had 10 cameras out at one time. And I think half of them ended up getting stolen or broke. I did catch people dumping, and I caught people doing other things I didn't want to see. But like I said, I caught a guy dumping.
JD, we've got time.
He had a 16-foot trailer, and he was literally throwing everything off in this little dead end spot. But I can't with the cameras, and I tried to set cameras up at different angles and do different things, but you got to have good hard concrete evidence that it's them to take them to court. And that whole process can be tedious. I did have one success, and I was happy to just get one success. That same spot, I caught a guy. He was dumping a deer carcass, and it was about this time of year. And I know I was like, well, hunting season's over, so. But I contacted TWRA, and TWRA, they looked the guy up, they knew him. They went after him and they prosecuted him. I don't know if he did hard time in jail. He did say, the TWRA officer did tell me he had the other guy some other offenses going on with him. So they were already after this guy, and it just gave him, a little more leverage on him. So that was the one success story I had from a camera. But and something like this kind of goes over my head. I think some of the problems with this stuff is these people the people that are caught dumping or, caught littering, whatever, they go to court and they get a small fine, like a little slap on the wrist. And like some of these companies don't, or if it's a company business doing it, because a lot, especially with the tires, a lot of your illegally dumped tires are coming from used tire shops. I can't point out a specific one, but like I said, I'd be willing to bet that it's a used tire shop, that where you see these big tire dumps at, they're the ones doing it. Because, and I don't know the complete story of it, but I know when you when you go buy a set of tires, you're paying a recycling fee for that tire. You pay that. Well, you pay it to that tire guy. Well, then he'll pay that when he goes and recycles it on his own. But some of these people don't do that because they're trying to cut costs and make money. But when they get caught, I guess my point with that is when they get caught and they go to court, they end up just paying the court costs, and it's not a big fine. And I'm not sure where to go to try to fix that. I know that's got to be like an upper state level as far as getting in the courts and seeing if there's a bigger fine or something like that. I think that's one thing that could really fix that, because people really aren't scared of the consequences.
And maybe we should appeal to people's better natures and keep Nashville beautiful signs or something. I don't know.
Exactly. And like I said, and the terrible thing about dumping is some people, especially people come in here, they might not know it's illegal to dump something off. They might think that dead end, hey, that's where you take your stuff to get Metro to pick it up. That's what they might think. And we try to, that's when the no dumping signs and no littering signs are handy. That kind of keeps the honest criminals away, but not a lot of criminals are honest. But that's why I think that, like I said, when we put signs up and we're happy to do it.
So we
Like I
can
said, I don't know.
request signs for certain areas of the road.
Yes, ma'am. Yeah, and you can go to the hub and request it. That's no problem at all. I just ordered a whole bunch of no litter signs and adopt a street signs. So we do no litter. Now Metro codes, they're the ones that handle the no dumping signs, but we NDOT, we handle the no littering signs.
Okay, thank
I
you.
see that Lisa has a question or comment.
You're at word of me. Okay. This may be something that would be addressed with a different agency and not NDOT, but I know that we're all looking at taking the responsibility as residents of keeping our neighborhoods clean. What or who could establish, say, I think in rural areas and other counties, what's called a convenience center, in which people can actually go and take their garbage or take tires, these used tire sales people, and have a depository for them instead of our roads and our dead end streets for you to go clean up. It seems like to me, the solution would be to open up a center that allows people to go and put their things there for free, and then they would stop dumping on our roads. I've seen those, like I said, in other rural counties in the past, and I guess NDOT doesn't actually do that type of thing, or do you have the ability or the budget or the funding to actually just say, here is a free place to bring your tires, sofas, and mattresses, for example, maybe not garbage per se, but these large items that I'm calling are going on the hub. I just did last night saying, can you come pick up this roll of carpet that's on my street right across my driveway? Does that make sense?
Yes, ma'am. And NDOT, or not NDOT, but Metro, it used to be part of Public Works, but now they're under Metro Water, solid waste. We have four convenience centers throughout the county. And there's one, like I said, there's one off Trinity Lane in East Nashville. There's one off Omahandra. There's one off Easel Pike, and there's one off Anderson Lane in Madison. That's the four convenience centers. And then we have other recycling drop-offs, which that's not the part you're talking about, but Metro does have convenience centers.
Okay, we do. I did not know that. That's good. And
yes,
so,
ma'am.
and it is free for them to then come, or do they pay a fee?
I don't want to start lying to you, because there is, if you dump so much, it depends on how much stuff you're bringing by.
Okay.
Doesn't it also, Jay, depend on what you're bringing by? Right.
Exactly. Yeah.
You're just doing
there's certain
recycling,
stuff. I think they'll only take so many tires at a time.
Okay.
But I know they take mattresses.
So I guess that in itself hasn't helped our situation. I just thought I would ask because, my road is a dumping road. So.
What area did you say you lived in?
I'm in White's Creek.
Okay, so the Trinity Lane one would be your closest convenience center, and to be honest, we probably do need more of them throughout the county. But
it'd be nice to have one in White's Creek.
Oh, I share the same, because
I think the more rural the area, obviously, the easier it is for them to go and do that without being caught.
And like I said, I share your pain, because I live in Bellevue, and there's no convenience center on the west side of town.
Oh, wow.
I think the closest one to me is either Omahandra. Yeah, it's Omaha, or I can go over to Trinity Lane. So now I've got a recycling drop off near me, but like I said, I would love to have a convenience center just a little bit closer. But I don't know who to go to. I guess I need to stay on my council person a little more. So,
okay.
I will put
that'd be a.
Go ahead, JD. I'm sorry.
I was gonna say the council people, they're the ones that kind of can get the ball rolling on stuff like that. So, but like I said, if you'll go to Metro Water, it's on their website, but they'll have all the convenience center locations and all the recycling drop-offs. And it'll show like their fees and stuff, things like that. So
I will put in a plug, and Lisa and I talked about this earlier today, but for everybody else, you're getting news that hasn't been published yet. This year for C4I Nashville, we're going to focus, which will be on Saturday, April 2nd. We're going to focus on 4 major issues impacting our neighborhoods today. And one of them is the litter crisis. And we're going to talk about how do we create a culture of zero free litter? How do we make that happen? And some of the suggestions that I've heard here tonight, Lisa, with what you were just talking about, or having more convenience centers, certainly is one of the ways that we can have a more, a better litter-free culture. And so that's what we're going to talk about, are what are the solutions. And we're hoping that the folks that are here tonight will come back and participate in the conference and bring your ideas to the conference, so that at the end we have things that neighborhood organizations can work on together to create that change. Because let's face it, Friends of Whites Creek is really a good organization, but it's when all these neighborhood organizations come together and say, for us to have great neighborhoods, we have to have this, and to together expect it from Metro government that change will happen. So that's why we're going to have these conversations. I'm sorry, I see 2 hands, and I want to make sure we get everybody. George, and then we'll go to Joe. George?
Oh, okay. I'm sorry.
Yep.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, great. Thank you. I didn't realize that I was coming to here with suggestions. But thank you, JD, for your presentation on it, and Lisa, for your question on convenience centers. This is maybe more in conjunction with the C4N conference. But the convenience centers, I'm really glad that we have them, but the money that Nashville spends on picking up litter, I wonder how much of that is better spent on changing some of the workings of the convenience centers to where they meet people's needs, as opposed to being open. They're closed on Mondays. They close at 4:30. You can only drop off carpet at 1. You can only drop off 4 tires at another. That kind of thing. I mean, I'm glad they're there. I don't want to sound bitter that they're not there as an opportunity for folks, but maybe revamping that to where it actually meets people's needs to prevent the dumping that ends up, or at least reduce it. I didn't know if there was any work or discussions about NDOT. We saw that maybe the pandemic, past couple of years, the increase of litter, how much they interacted with each other, how much the fact that community groups are kind of on hiatus, or some of them were less active during the pandemic. If there was some looking at a rolling schedule, so that not everybody had their cleanups at once to overwhelm NDOT, and then it was quiet other times, maybe there's an opportunity to look at the brush cleanup schedule and have a focus per area on cleanups, to just kind of loosely work with neighborhood associations and HOAs to rotate through the city, so that there's more even demand on JD and his work. And then the other question I had was, some of the things that we deal with here in Whites Creek is the dumping because of the kind of rural suburban interface or rural urban interface. I didn't know if there were some conversations with the large item pickup from the sheriff's office, that we see areas that are repeatedly dumping problems, places that are problematic for cameras, areas under underpasses, that kind of thing. If there were solutions we could work on towards helping Nashville with those. And then the last question I had was on roadside safety. I see that one of the photos on Nashville's website has like a sign, like a litter cleanup crew sign. Is there a way that those kind of things can be made available when we do organize our cleanups? Because Whites Creek deals with cleanups along some roads that are like 55-mile-an-hour roads. And that was a lot, so thank you.
And I'll try my best to get everything. I have a short memory, so if I miss something, just let me know. I'll start at the sign issue, because I know the good definite answer to that. Yes, we will provide signs if you need them. We have the volunteer cleanup ahead signs. We're more than happy, because that's our main goal with this whole thing, is to be, we want everybody safe. Can't stress it enough. We want everybody safe. And to add to that too, when you sign up for cleanup, I'll send you a form, or not a form, but it's like just a checklist of stuff to go over with your group. about being safe, about be careful what you touch. If you see something, a bag of, and we have this problem in rural areas, it might be a bag of something, hazardous material of some kind, you never know what's in these bags, what people have thrown out their window or on the back of their truck. So we're always preaching to people, if something feels questionable or looks questionable, let us call me, let me know. I can get one of our hazmat guys come out there and pick it up and dispose of it safely. But to short answer your question is yes, we will provide safety signage for those cleanups like that, especially like I said, I know the area you're talking about, and people, if people are going 50 miles an hour down, they're doing good. I know this, well, sometimes they're not, they're doing more than 50 most times. So totally understand that. In regards to the sheriff's department and their pickup, I'm not sure if they've started back up with their type of pickup. I know they were kind of short on inmate labor, which I don't know how that works on that end. I don't know. I just don't know. But I know that was one reason they were kind of, their pickups were slowing down, because they used to would help us on some cleanups, but then they got to where they didn't have the people, the resources to send out. But that was, like I said, that was early COVID. I'm not sure if they're doing that again or not. I'm trying to, in regards to what you were saying about maybe staggering some of the big cleanups, we do have a time, and I think that's kind of why the Great American Cleanup is 3 months long, and it spread out over that time is good enough for us. It's just that one year the mayor really did it for all one weekend, and that was what was stressful to us. But like I said, we made a good impact that weekend. But if we can spread them out, that's what we'll try to do. And that's what, even with the last mayor's cleanup, I think we spread them out over a couple of different weekends as opposed to do it all on one Saturday. But that's a great suggestion, and we definitely will try to, work with that. You'll have to excuse me, I can't remember your other question exactly.
That's okay. I think I forgot it. I really appreciate it, JD.
Hey, and if I'm happy to, like I said, y'all have my contact information. I'm happy to, if y'all, think of something tomorrow, shoot me an email, give me a call. I'm happy to answer it and help out the best way I can.
Thanks, George. Thanks, JD. Joe, you're up.
Hey, JD, thanks for being on the call tonight. I appreciate you. JD, one of my biggest pet peeves, and I'm sure everybody on the call could say the same, is the lack of garbage cans throughout the neighborhoods. We have neighborhood poop stations all over the place for dog wastes. And one of my jobs here in fill up those poop stations with bags, but a lot of times I'll find the bags by the wayside. People don't have a garbage can to put them in. So, we're halfway there. I've spoken to Freddie, our councilman, about it. I think I've even reached out to a few folks in Metro. And not that I'm getting stonewalled, but from what I'm understanding, it's just not in the budget. Could you supply any information on that?
Well, the reason I think there's, because when solid waste and all that was at Public Works, I remember hearing the same problem. And the issue with that is if we put trash cans out there, I'm assuming you're talking like not just like residential trash, you're talking about just litter waste baskets to put like on a sidewalk, correct?
Yes, sir.
The problem with that is it's one thing to just put the can there, but then we got to have somebody be able to go out and service it,
Right.
once a week, once a month, however, not once a month clearly, but that's where they talk about the budget issues. They're going to have to hire people, buy a truck possibly to go and service that. That's where that comes from. And like I said, and the problem with it too, some people's argument to it is that if we put that trash can or we put that waste basket there, and say something happens, a holiday comes, and say we were servicing on a weekly basis or however basis, let's say it gets missed once, well, then people don't like the eyesore of, stuff piling up over the trash can. Not saying that's the reason they're not doing it, but I know that's why some people don't want litter baskets, but I'm kind of more on your side. But when you hear the budgeting issue, that's what it is they're having to provide the service to it's not just about buying, because we've had council people come up and say, we'll buy the trash cans. And like, well, that's great. But we're going to have somebody go out there and be able to service it, you know, every 2 days or every other day or every 3 days, however, you know. So that's where that issue comes from.
And JD, am I right? Like, I know we have trash cans downtown, but those are actually paid for by the downtown partnership, the collection, isn't that? It's not the city that's paying for it.
Yeah, I think that sounds about right. Yes, sir.
Yeah. So, Joe, bring that suggestion though to C4N.
And there are other parts of the county that they do have waste baskets there that we do get collected. I think there's some on like Murfreesboro Road or Nolensville Road. There is some that the city that goes out there and collect on a regular basis. But we need more of them. And like Joe was saying, we need more of them throughout the county. And that's the issue. They got to get more. It'd just be more labor to it and people. And that's where they come up with the budget cost.
Judy, you've got a question. Welcome.
Okay, thank you. So I've been noticing that our storm drains are clogged whenever I go out and pick up litter. And is there a service and is there a place to report when one is just totally grown up and it doesn't receive water at all? It's just earth. So yeah, who services those?
The storm drains?
Yeah.
It'd be Metro Stormwater or Metro Stormwater, which is division of Metro Water. But you could also put that request in the hub, and they would get you in touch with the right people. Or, but they're the ones that are over those and keep those clean and make sure they're draining properly. Because if they're not draining properly, that causes big problems.
Yeah. Okay. And
Judy,
you don't know their schedule of how often they.
I don't know if they work on just a request basis, or I'm just not familiar with that.
Okay. Yeah, Jim.
Yeah, Judy, I was going to say, I've talked to Hub Nashville about that same issue before. They have too many drains in the city to be able to get to them all, even in 1 year, because of their staff. But they always do priority with Hub Nashville. And if it's in a flooding area, I always suggest that if it's in a flooding area, that not just one neighbor, but multiple neighbors report it. Because here's the secret about Hub Nashville. If you want it to go to a priority status, multiple neighbors, not the same neighbor calling 100 times, but multiple neighbors complaining about that issue on Hub Nashville, move it up in the priority status.
Okay, thank you.
I saw somebody else with a hand and then I lost it. No hand? Okay.
Well, it was me. I just wanted to add, I've had good luck with through stormwater on cleaning out a culvert within 3 weeks or so. And I also have good response time from through the hub on picking up over here too. I mean, anytime there's a tree down, anytime there's anything here within 2 to 3 weeks, it's rectified. And earlier if it's a tree down. So I do appreciate that.
The beautiful thing about the hub is you can like track your requests. Like if say you wanted litter picked up on Eaton's Creek, and you see the same old Coke cans and everything out there, well then you go and look and you can go check your hub and it says litter was clean on Eaton's Creek. But say you went out there and you still see the same Coke can and cigarette box and everything out there, well you can that gives a way to let you know that maybe our guys missed something, or maybe there was some type of confusion or something like that. So that's a great way to use it, is you can kind of check up on your request.
And I can't believe we're getting up on the 5th anniversary of Hub Nashville. I remember when that was rolled out. We're still telling people, call 311. We're still telling people to log in, right? But on February the 3rd, Aaron Williams, who's the director of Hub Nashville, is going to be here on this show to talk about Hub Nashville, its successes, where its growing pains are, and also look at what's new. Because every year, actually not even every year, even more frequently, that they're adding new opportunities. So we're going to review what Hub Nashville is able to do today for us 5 years later. JD, I want to thank you for being here today. You've certainly given us a lot of information. We appreciate it. I want to invite everybody to come back next week. Elise Hudson is going to be here. Many of you have heard or read about the court case Hudson versus Metro Government. Incidentally, George is Elise's partner. So he'll even be here next week, so you get to see George again. But it was a really important case. And increasingly neighborhood organizations are considering legal litigation with developers, with Metro Government, to make sure that they are adhering to their own policies and practices. And so that will be a great opportunity for you to be here next week to learn about that suit, which was successful. And I'm looking forward to really having an opportunity to talk to Elise about it, because I've read in the papers, but it's great to actually talk to the person who made the decision, the lead person, I should say, because it wasn't just one person, but the lead person on the plaintiff about that. And George, yes.
Yeah, thank you, Jim, for on that. I also, while we have some folks that are here on this meeting that may or may not be able to make it to that one, I'd also like to make folks aware that there has been a resolution introduced for discussion at council on reopening Nashville Next. And a time frame in that initial request was for it to be completed before the next council election, which would be a Herculean task and very quick. So if you like your community plan, if you feel like it's of service to you and the issues that we're all facing as far as neighborhoods and gentrification and displacement and harmoniousness and context and responsible smart growth and all that, be aware, maybe talk to your councilperson about whether they feel like they want to support the reopening of all of Nashville Next on kind of a rushed timeline. But I just thought I'd throw that out there. So thank you.
Thanks, George.
Thank you.
JD, again, thank you for being here. Great to have you on board.
Thanks for having me. It's good to meet y'all. And like I said, I'm happy to answer any questions. Y'all call me or email me. I'll be happy to help you out best I can.
And I should say, I'll put in the chat room. You've been putting stuff in there. It is john.lane@nashville.gov, right? Oop,
It's jd.lane@nashville.gov. I'll add it in there.
okay. Yeah, don't hesitate to use that email. I had a chance to have coffee with JD a few weeks ago and get to know him. He's just a great guy. He's willing to do whatever it takes. So within the law, he's willing to do it. All right, everybody. Just remember, you are truly what is right with Nashville. I am so thankful to know you and to consider you co-workers in this effort to keep Nashville clean and make it beautiful and make neighborhoods beautiful. I will look forward to seeing you all next week. Take care, everybody.
Thank you.